The loud clatter of books falling into the return slot abruptly breaks the grip of the silence over the school library. It becomes a habit for me to come to the library at least once a week. Not only does the reading itself keep me busy, but discussing books with Hanako and Lily also does. Obviously startled, Yuko suddenly twists towards the direction of the noise. I'd have thought her used to people dropping books by now, since she does work here. Oh, hello, Asao. Back again. Takes me a moment to respond, my mind still distracted by the familiar melody of Lily's humming that's hardly left my ears in the several days since I fell asleep to it. Oh, yeah, just returning some books I borrowed. She casts her eyes downwards, presumably to the bin of books dropped into. You're always a very heavy reader, aren't you? It's become a bit of a routine now, passes time, at least. I wish I had free time to pass. From small talk to depression in less than 5 seconds. I think that's a new record for her. She seems a bit down in general today, even compared to normal. Considering she has worked 2 jobs just to support herself, I could see how that would take a toll on her lifestyle. Come to think of it, the pay of her job can't be all that bad. The idea of staff in such a prestigious private school going hungry strikes me as counterintuitive. Working 2 jobs must take a lot of time. I'd probably never imagine it. You're lucky, being a student. You think you'd be able to go to university? It's not just working 2 jobs, she's also a student, right? So it's like, she goes crazy. If she's asking, then I guess that's expected, having a result of this kind of education. Private schools like this don't exactly come cheap. I guess I have the money, I think. I've got plans which require going to one, and my grades are good enough. It's a matter of how I'll pay to do so. University costs so much that I'm having to work 2 jobs to afford to enter it. Paying for daily expenses, too, makes it a lot harder. If you're reading this much, though, that means you're doing well in school, right? Interesting logical jump. Not altogether the wrong one, though. I suppose so. I didn't find any of the exams very hard, aside from maybe 1 or 2. Do you mind if I ask what studies you're pursuing in university? Yuko appears to genuinely brighten up to the question. Anthropology. To be specific, I'm specializing in the history of classical era and Athenian civilization and democracy. She seems to really know her stuff. Such enthusiasm is to be admired. It's nice to see her genuinely excited about something. I guess even somebody like Yuko can be happy if she has a visible road ahead of her. It's good to hear if you... Both of us jump at the sudden interruption coming from my pocket. Apologizing profusely and quickly shuffling into the hallway as I fumble with the cover of my mobile phone, I glanced at the screen. Weird, it's a mobile number I don't recognize. Considering I can count the numbers of people with my phone, with my number on one hand, I briefly wonder whether it's some telemarketer that lucked out. It's probably like Akira or something. Hello? Sound Nakai speaking. Jeez, pick up faster next time. Anyway, guess who? I'm assuming it's Akira. It only takes me a second to recognize the distinctly deep, brusque voice. Hey, Misha. Oh, okay. Jeez, pick up faster next time. Anyway, guess who? Didn't expect you to call me. Oh, it was Akira. What the fuck? Huh? You actually think I sound like her? Okay, I was right. So wait, let me try Misha, but Akira. Jeez, pick up faster next time. Anyway, guess who? Not at all, Akira. I don't remember giving you my number, though, so I thought I'd mess with you. Oh, that? I got Lily to give the phone to me. Not that hard. She positively brims with pride at the statement. She's trying to get me caught up in her pace, and I know it. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised that the 2 of them would share my number, though, given how close they are. So what's up? You free right now? I guess. Why? Could you meet me at the park in town? I just want to talk to you about some stuff. Is that an invitation to a date? Well, of course not. She sounds suddenly crestfallen, her previous teasing nature having instantaneously left. Seems strange for her. Anyway, I don't see why not. When do you want to meet? Kinda now-ish? Wait, right now? But it's... The dead silence suddenly coming from the phone announces the fact that she has unceremoniously hung up. For a long time, I just sit there, having stared at the call-ended message on my screen, while replaying the conversation in my head. What the hell, Akira? What do you mean? It's fucking sundown, bro. Throwing a glance up and down the street, I cross the road and step into the park. I've learned to pace myself on such walks, mostly because of the slower speed during our forays into town means I have to consciously slow myself down. That aside, I hope Akira didn't expect me to be immediately prompt. Yo, she's so cute. I love Akira. It takes only a couple of seconds to spot her waiting on a bench with a can of beer in her hand. The look she gives as I walk up lacks any hint of acknowledgement or greeting. What's with the look? I needn't have come, you know. I knew you would. You're that kind of person, after all. I lower my brow at her remark as she disposes of the can, emptied by the time I arrived, and a metallic clatter rings out. Akira takes a seat on the old wooden bench, and I follow her lead. She takes another can of beer from beside her and opens it before speaking, taking a large gulp. She seems to really like that stuff. Suppose I don't need to ask what this is about, or rather, who it's about. I heard from Lily that you asked about our family. They share more than phone numbers, that's for sure. I'd probably be very worried right now if it weren't for the total lack of malice in her voice. Rather, her tone almost sounds wistful. Idle curiosity, mostly. I have to admit, I never have guessed you two were half Scottish. She gives a wry chuckle of amusement. I've heard that before, trust me. A small smile falls from her face, her eyes looking ahead distantly. Aside from the occasional elderly couple talking as they slowly walk the meandering paths, the odd aging car is pleasantly quiet. She didn't tell you everything, though, did she? It was pretty brief. Your parents live in Scotland. She hasn't met them since she was 12, and she wants to meet them again. It's always surprised me how devoted she is to our parents, for all the good they did us. The way she says it sounds almost derisive. She gives a small sigh, as if to quickly brush the feelings away. Why do you think they left, Sal? Why do I think they left? From what Lily told me, it was because of work. I guess a pretty decently paying job was involved as well, given the way your parents seem to live. So Lily went to a private school, and then she carries herself in the airs about the grace of the upper class. Yeah, business is Inverness boomed. Our father decided to quickly move directly to the same city as its headquarters. That's just the conclusion I thought you'd come to, though. You're good-natured. You don't think they left for their career? I'm sitting here bitching to you about it. What do you think? Yamaku Academy. I've always felt that place was kind of creepy. Like an isolated hideaway for those proper society and doesn't want to see nor hear. They probably just rue the fact that Lily wasn't old enough to be shoved there by the time they left. A long silence follows her abrupt and very harsh criticism of her own parents and Yamaku. Lily's blindness is hardly something that they could simply be ignored for a high-class family attempting to keeping up appearances, much less so than a lucrative offer is on the table. Eventually, Akira gives a derisive snort, her feelings coming to a head. Moving to secure our financial future with the new job posting. Even at the time, I hardly believed it. Not wanting to simply be an avenue for her venting, I gently try to steer the discussion. So you stayed in Japan with Lily, then? Either I stayed with her, or she went to live with an ailing grandmother and grandfather. What about Shizune's family? If you're cousins, then our fathers hate each other. I'd have been way more happy to tell them to go screw themselves and live with them anyway, but Lily wouldn't have wanted that. I'd also have an offer of a job by then, so we did our best to keep our parents' house in proper shape. Tried to continue our lives as if they'd never left. So you just lived by yourselves? Basically. Lily had school and I had my job, so we weren't exactly languishing. With her schooling, her study, and having to do chores while I worked, though I can't help feeling like I failed her. In the end, I tried to be there for her and screwed it up. Expecting a 19-year-old to be a mother for a blind child, it's ridiculous. So Lily and Akira lived off alone after their parents moved, with Lily largely taking care of herself. Guess that explains her apparent independence and compared to many in Yamaku. Jeez, sorry. Akira's voice actually hurts my throat a little bit. I can't. May have lived alone much in the time my parents both worked, but that's just something else entirely. Sorry for making you listen to my moaning, Isao. I don't mind at all, but do you mind if I ask why you're telling me all this? You always were curious. Context, I suppose. Life isn't a fairy tale, Isao. Some people have to learn that the hard way. She takes a long drink from the can in her hand, her face becoming depressed, then distant. I broke up with my boyfriend a few days ago. After I leave, we're not going to be able to see each other again. But that's how life is. You can't just set your life up and expect to stay that way forever. Sometimes stuff happens you have to roll with, even if it means hurting yourself or others. She takes a long breath before looking up at the bright orange sky. Damn, if I smoked, I could take a nice long drag right about now. Look kind of cool. I want to respond to help her in whatever way I can, but feel utterly useless. This kind of situation is one that I've never been in, and I simply don't have the experience to say anything meaningful to comfort her. Kiri looks over and evidently picks up on this, much to my embarrassment. I must look pretty pathetic right now, whining about this to someone I barely know. Hardly. I'm pretty much an expert on looking pathetic. She gives a chuckle, the act of feeling like a personal victory for me. You're a good kid, Sal. When I said that I approved of you being with my sister, I wasn't joking, you're just being nice. She picks herself up from the seat with a grunt, one that seems ill-fitting given her age, throws now the empty can into the bin after one last swig. It's just uncomfortable. Unfortunate, cheats. It's just unfortunate. That doesn't really count much for it in this world. When I said I was leaving for Scotland, I was doing it because a good position opened up in our company's headquarters. When our folks told me that we were at their place, though, they also gave Lily a summons to rejoin them in Iverness. No way. Her evasiveness when I asked about her future, that awkwardness that had steadily grown between us, that uncharacteristic outburst of anger, all of them suddenly fit into place. The same family that she reminisced about after Hanako's birthday. The same family that left her and Akira to themselves after taking flight to greener pastures. No, I feel stupid for never cornering Lily on what's been bugging her. I never even considered if something had happened during her trip to her family's home in Iverness. And now a sense of unease grows in my chest. If her family has summoned her to join them in Scotland all the way to the other side of the earth, has she accepted? Lily hasn't told me whether she plans to accept. Seems she hasn't told you either. That's why I called you down here to talk, Asao. Context, huh? I sit back, my feelings of worry and frustration no doubt written all over my face. Lily's a strong person, Asao. She's not infallible. I guess it's my job to worry about her, being her older sister, but I think you deserve to know. I understand. You okay? You sound depressed. No, I'm just thinking. That's good. Thinking's good. Being rash won't get you anywhere. She looks at her watch, barely moving her wrist. I gotta go. You be okay? I'm fine, don't worry. I'll have to talk with Lily about it and get everything sorted out. She gives a smile, but it doesn't feel all that genuine or sincere. Really, both of us are dancing around the fact that Lily's on the precipice of the biggest decision of her life and is trying to take the entire burden on herself. And that part of the burden is the matter of our relationship. By the time I look up, Akira's already walking off with her hand held up. For the first time in a long while, I finally have an answer to something. Perhaps not even that, but at least now I'll have the right question to ask. Will you leave or stay?